the freshman. Here we are talking about Keaton Wagler again. 25 points, 8 of 17 shooting.
Wagler curling into the paint, up with the leader, rolls in, off the glass and in.
This is what kids dream of. I know I dreamed of this when I was growing up, playing in the Final Four, competing for a national championship.
This is a group that has all the capabilities of winning the national championship.
It is happy not only for myself, because we've been through the ringer as Illinois basketball fans, so to be here again after 2 decades is just a thrill, because even though we've had so much talent come through Champaign and we've had so many opportunities in the tournament, Big Ten champions, #1 seeds, we have not gotten this far in a long time, CC.
Yeah.
And I am so thrilled for this team because I love this team. And most importantly, I'm so thrilled for Brad Underwood, Josh Whitman, and the powers that be at Illinois. Brad Underwood is an incredible coach. He talks a lot about how Illinois is his dream job. He waited a long time to be a head coach at the D1 level, and he has been grinding at Illinois for a long time. And unfortunately, unless you get to the Final Four, national championship, you're cutting nets down, a lot of times you don't get the shine that you deserve in this game and in this business. So I am thrilled that the spotlight is on the excellence of Brad Underwood, not only as a recruiter, but as a tactician.
So are you fully over the scar tissue of losing the Natty in 2005? Because, I mean, like that was the last time that Illinois was in the Final Four.
Correct.
So are you fully over that, and can you go into this Final Four with all of the optimism as a fan should for their team being in this position?
Great question. So that's the other side of the coin. You feel joy and pride that your school has gotten to this point and that the world is seeing how special they are. But there's that scar tissue. I'm a little calcified. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
Not only from 2005, which was the worst sports loss that I've ever endured as a fan, North Carolina defeating the most special team that I've probably ever covered.
So hold on, is that worse than the Rams leaving in the cloak of darkness from St. Louis and going to LA? It's different?
Because that is straight up lying and betrayal from someone who's from Missouri.
Okay.
And that's things that are outside of the game.
Okay.
Whereas this is just basketball.
Okay, so
you
this
know what I
was
mean?
just
This is just
of just purely losing a game.
Yes,
Okay.
which is almost worse in some ways, because you know that in the world sometimes bad things happen and that fan bases get screwed, frankly. But like when you're a fan and you have all that hope that your team is going to do it, and then just from a basketball perspective, it's taken from you, that's really hard to swallow. But not only do I have the callus from 2005, CC, the last time Illinois was in the Elite Eight, they played UConn, a Dan Hurley UConn coach team. I was there in Boston. At halftime, right before half, Illinois started to make a little bit of a run in that game. I go to get a water at halftime. Obviously, long lines. By the time I get back to my seat, UConn was in the midst of what would be a 30-0 run. 30-0 to pull away and defeat Illinois in Boston. It was so bad that I was surrounded by UConn fans who were from Boston, and let's just say those people generally aren't kind and friendly.
Yeah, they're obnoxious.
They were chirping me to death in the first half. I mean, they were wearing me out like you can't believe. At the end of that run, they were like, listen, don't let this ruin your trip. Go to the North End, have a beautiful meal. Like, Boston's a good place. You can still salvage the night. Like, they felt badly for me. They were pitying me. Boston sports fans. That's how bad it was. And on the heels of watching UConn mount this unbelievable comeback with the exclamation point from the Mullen shot to defeat #1 overall Duke, yeah, I'm nervous. I'm worried. I'm scared and concerned, and I have PTSD.
But you're the favorite. Going into this matchup on Saturday, UConn is the underdog against your Fighting Illini. I mean, you got Keaton Wagler, you got the Vitches, like you got a squad.
We've got the size. Their offense is one of the most efficient offenses in KenPom history. And I think the beauty of this run for Illinois is it's not even necessarily their offense that has gotten here.
Yeah.
It's the defense, which down the stretch and into the Big Ten tournament was a concern.
Yeah.
And they have turned on the defensive jets in a way that I haven't seen from them all season long in this tournament. And that's what makes them a really scary team.
I think that's what makes this matchup fascinating, because of the industriousness of Brad Underwood's squad and the way that they play going up against the grit of UConn and Dan Hurley. It really is, you know, like looking in a mirror when it comes to the personalities, the character of these two teams. Now, of course, when it comes to the overall talent, there are some differences, but I think when you think about the DNA of what Coach Underwood wants the Illinois program to be, it mirrors what we're seeing Dan Hurley do over the last half decade with the UConn Huskies. And here's the other thing, Smalls, that you should feel good about. This is the third time a team that's on the 3 seed, has made it to the Final Four since seeding has begun. The previous 2 teams, 2023 UConn won the Natty, 1981 Indiana won the Natty. I'm not trying to put too much on it.
Stressed.
But I mean, like, if you want to look at history that could be in your favor, that's a little bit of history. There's something to this Illinois team, and based on what the committee and people in the college basketball world thought coming into this tournament, what they would be, they have proven everybody wrong. And so this is another opportunity for them to prove the world wrong, for them to do what everybody other than Vegas thinks that they can't do, which is upset Dan Hurley's machine, which is UConn basketball.
So here's what makes me nervous is when we sit down, Cece, and you, me, and Ev are trying to predict things or look into the future and say, okay, well, these are the factors that we're going to lean on to determine a winner when it comes to big games, championship rounds, championship games. A lot of times we defer to the best player on the floor or on the field or the coach. And I don't know if there is a better big game coach across sports right now than Dan Hurley.
Oh, no. No.
And that's what makes me nervous, is that it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, what the opposition is, what the challenge is, what the deficit is that mounts throughout the game. Dan Hurley coached teams find a way to get it done. And that's what scares me.
Well, it should scare you. It's a good reason to have some fear. But we'll see what ends up happening in this game this weekend. I would just say that your team has all of the makings, all of the raw materials that they need to pull off the upset. But as we've seen with UConn opponents, the pressure that program, those players put on you eventually wears them down. And I'm curious to see whether or not UConn can do it once again against your squad, because that's what it's ultimately going to come down to. Who makes the critical error? Who makes the mistake at the end of the game? It's very reminiscent of the Bill Belichick coach Patriots when they were in the midst of their dynasty, right? It wasn't about them, beating you with just straight talent. It was about them being able to execute and them forcing you into mistakes and then fully taking advantage of them. It's what we saw last night with UConn against Duke, and they're going to try to do it again in the Final Four. So it's going to be interesting to see which team makes the mistakes, and those mistakes ultimately determining the outcome.
Well, coming up next, alongside Chris Canty, I'm Michelle Smallman here on Unsportsmanlike. A GM in the NFL said a player isn't getting traded. So that should be the end of the